Hi, this is Military Model Paul with an update on, believe it, HMS Speedy, the 164 Vanguard kit, and basically I've got done up to basically page 9, so not too far, but the structure of the hull and the support frames for the upper deck come into place, and I've actually cut out the door to put on for Mr. Cochrane and any other captains around on board, obviously. And I've actually got it out, and I'm going to have to make a door frame for that because it falls through. It doesn't actually fit snugly, so that's not an issue. I've got a little bits of slivers of wood I can do that with anyway. Even if it's balsa wood, it won't matter too much. But anyway, so let's have a look at the instructions, because I said I'd do that, and then basically then we have a look at the model. See you in a second. Well, we're back, as you can see, and all I can say, basically, what I've done is, obviously, you know about I've built that up, and I had this cut off earlier original, even though I put it inside the fret so you can see it. I'll call it a fret because at the end of the day it's what it looks like. And I've cut off all these pieces out and cleaned them all up, and I can show you some for the bow. Here they are, or the stern I should say. These are the stern three. And what I did do is, because you can see there's numbers on them, there you can see the numbers anyway, but the numbers are there, and I doubled it up on both sides, so whichever side of the ship I could actually see. I didn't do it on the other side, but I just done it on this side, and I did the same to all the others as well. So that was one thing I did, and then I started setting about test fitting it to make sure, like this on this part, to make sure they all fitted and snugly in, and they were very good. I must admit they were very excellent. They fit nice and snug and tight. And so once I cleaned that, as I cleaned them all up, I'd already cleaned up the actual false keel, and basically then I glued in with white glue using this one here, and I put it on a tile, a little pile on the side, and used a cocktail stick to put all the glue where I wanted it to be, and that's what I did. And then these two bits I also cut out, which was parts 22, and they go in these two places to give a bit more support underneath. You won't see that too much unless I move it around, but it is actually under there. And then I went over to this and I cut these two pieces. I cleaned them all up, and what I will say is these two bits went in a very small fraction out of line, but it didn't affect anything because I've rounded the holes up and they pay for it. And then I tried the dowel, and the towel fits in there lovely and snug, so that's good. Not too snug so you can't get it in, but it works really well. And then I set about putting them in, and they were a nice thing. Now what I did do is, now if I show you on here, I should have showed the drawing up really. There's a little indentation on these where that deck slots in, and what I did is I got a little file and opened it up very fractionally so it was snugly, because when I was pushing these in, it was a tight fit, and you want a tight fit, but not as tight as that. So what I did is I did that to all the actual ribs all the way along, and basically then when I went in an angle and they slotted into place, and there was no issues then. Once I was happy with that, I glued them in place as well. And I actually did these bits here, and I actually did chamfer a bit. I didn't do a lot of chamfering, I've got to be honest, because I didn't want to have it so it was overdone. So I just done enough to start the process off, as you'll see in a minute. And I did that as it's shown there, but not as far as that. Then I went over to the side, and here we go. And I did this part here, putting the 8 in, but this is on the bow, is it? Yeah, it's on the bow. These are the parts where them chamfering bits you saw earlier on, which is those there, went into place. And done that. I cut these out. These actually support, and look, the really good thing is they've got 8B on them. So basically they're all the same, and they just go on the 8 spar that goes across, the actual spar, I'll call it a spar or whatever, it goes across. You actually put it on both sides and double pack them, and we'll see that on the model when I show you in a minute. And I did use them because I've got 40 of those, and it's funny enough, it must be the same size, so they actually did the same position on them. And that's it. So I've spent 2 days doing this, and not all day, every day. I've been out for walks and God knows what. I had to do other little bits and pieces, but I did get stuck in, and it's a credit to the actual way that goes together. It was nice and easy to do. I have got that perma grit thing. I mean, if you've watched Jason's model kit stuff, when he's building his boat, he keeps unrolling this roller sheet with all the grits in it, the metal grits in it. I've got that one, but he's got both. I've got the finer one, not the actual coarser one. May have to get the coarser one later on, but so far I found the finer ones is just as good as well. So I've done all this bit all the way around, and all these little bits here, they drop into place. And on the next page you'll see them a little bit easier, but you drop them into place, they slot into the squares on the deck and into a recess there on across to, these are all the bits that go across to actually support the upper decks. Right, if I come up the way, turn over, and we've got 2 more pages now. And then we're over here, and these are the bits I was putting in all the way across, you see, and they were called 6 because it was a 6 to do with the main spar, and it's called A, so all of them are A, but they're matched to the number that you have to put them to. And these numbers are actually printed on the actual keel cross timbers. It's really good, so it's matched it really easy. I've never had that before, and it's really nice. I like that. And then you get these drawings to make sure you see exactly how they're lined up, which I've done. This is a bit I haven't done yet, the edge of the bulkhead. I haven't done that. I've done, so that's got to be sorted out, but I'm not worried about that at the moment because it's number 16. I can do that later, but this is what I've got up to. This is how you're going to see it in a minute. The only thing I haven't done, and hold on, because sometimes they put a bit of a picture up and there's a picture of things you haven't done yet, and it comes on this part page here, which is my next page to get work to. So there you go. I'm doing these ones and actually putting in these are all to do when you start the planking, and you're not far off, and you've got bits more to do anyway, so I won't go rushing through like I did last time. So I'm up to this stage and I'm really happy about that. So next Saturday and Sunday I'll be doing some more of the ship, but I'm going back on the Nelson all the week now. So that's it. So let's go down to get the boat over, and what I will do, I'll switch off briefly and I'll come back to you in a second. Right, we're back now. I've accidentally switched it off earlier on, so I've got to start over again. So here she is, and I'll basically, if I can see what you mean, so you can see what I mean. All these spars have been put in place, glued in. The deck is not pinned, it's glued, and there's the holes for the actual the foremast and the mainmast there. I'm not sure what it is called on the sloop, but I can look in my book later. Anyway, but you can see that they've all been, these are all dry. They're dry really, but I'm going to leave them roll up. I think you can see what I mean. I've done this, and if I do that, oops, oh, that's my door. I was going to say I'm going to make a frame for that. And you can see all the numbers I put in there to give it all the way around. There it is. I have done a bit of slightly chamfering, but not enough so I don't actually make a mistake and go too far. And there you go, just a bit of chamfering, and there she is. So if I turn that like that, you'll see that is it. That's how she is now. So that was took 2 days, not rushing. All these are nice and smooth. I will sand over them just to give them a thing with a bit of light sandpaper. But yeah, pleased how it's going so far. I've got the these bits, as you can see, to go on the back, on the stern I should say. So these are all these are 14, 16 and 15. You can see the order they would go, and yes, 15 and 16 in that order. And there's that other one you saw earlier on, so that's got to be done. So I think I've done quite well so far, and as I said, now I'll clear me bench back to just purely the plastic one for finish the rigging off, because I've been on that ages rigging, because I did make a few mistakes and break things, and I had to put it all back together again. So that's going to be back on the desk in a minute. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with what's happened, and thank you for all the people that have viewed that. And I'm very sorry about that last video in regards to the book, but then again, if I was on a normal V8 tank or a ship, you read it through the old instructions. But this sorry about that again. This one was so big, but I thought myself, once I started, I might as well carry on. So there you go. So I've been watching Jason's bits and pieces. He mentioned the lathe that he's got up in his loft, I believe. I was interested in that, but I'm not sure if I need one to do what I'm going to be doing with this. But if it comes to the point, I'll get a small mini one if I can, but I don't think the mini one would solve the problem. So, but we'll see what I do. If I can do it all by hand and with a drill, I can, because you can use a drill as a sort of way of doing sanding down on masks, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, stop me waffling now. Thank you very much for watching, and happy modelling, and thanks for all the comments I've had so far on this little build. Happy modelling.